our aim is really to promote the development of the internet, to ensure that it remains secure, it's had open access, and it is basically trusted. It remains global. And we have established ourselves to actually promote the use of the internet, promote the use of security, privacy, to ensure that we utilize the internet in a meaningful way. Today you will appreciate that you cannot do it without the internet. It is like a basic good. Just like you can't do it without the water and electricity, internet has become part of that. And so we have Internet of Things, where almost anything now uses the internet. So we're talking here about what you're so familiar with, our television. Huh? We're talking here about our appliances in our home. Even your washing machine can access the internet. Because what? Everybody trying to make life more efficient and easier. And actually we are aiming for what? Productivity. So in order to do that, we appreciate the use of the internet. Of course, it has a downside to it, but I always look on the brighter side. I always look at where we can maximize the use of the internet for the growth and development of the country. And so our aim is to ensure that St. Vincent and Grenadines utilize the internet in a meaningful way so that we can really, really have the benefit and we can really compete and we can really be part of the global environment. The Inter-Society chapter in St. Vincent and Grenadines currently has 65 members. And this include students, public sector, private sector, from the technical community, non-government organizations, civil society. It is an open, what we want to call it, it has open membership. You are free to join, and we'll tell you more about that in the end. And it is really for our own benefit, and there are so many things to be utilized from it. In the flyer, it gives a little bit more information, and you can go on the webpage, and you can see what we have been doing. And every year we try to do as much as we can in terms of spreading the message of the internet, security, privacy. We try to promote community network because we believe that every part of St. Vincent and Grenadines should be connected to the internet. And when we say it's open, it doesn't mean that it must be totally free, that you must not pay. But we're talking here about not having regulations that impedes the use and the access to the internet. So I wish that we will have a successful presentations and discussions, and at the end, when we leave here, we will be better equipped and really appreciate the use of the Internet of Things, and we will really secure ourselves more as we really capitalize on the use of the Internet. So Chairman, we wish us all the best as we go through the second Internet Governance Forum.
Thank you very much. Those were our welcome remarks from our President, Mrs. Roxanne John. At this time, we're going to have a welcome to this Internet Governance Forum by one of our Forum Committee members, Mr. Marcellus Constance, and he will be introducing remarks from the Internet Governance Forum Association. Mr. Constance, let's put our hands as we welcome him.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My duty here is a very short one. As I said, I would like to welcome you. We feel, really good to see you here this afternoon. And we are going to play a short video from Marcus Kummer. He is the chairman of the IGFSA that actually provides support to various entities to have the Internet Governance Forum. So what we are having here today is not unique to St. Vincent, it happens all over the world. And we're just going to play a short video from Marcus Kummer. So turn our attention to the screen. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, I am Marcus Kummer. I'm the chair of the IGF Support Association's Executive Committee. It gives me great pleasure to deliver a message to your meeting on behalf of the IGF-SA. Let me start by explaining who we are and what our purpose is. The IGF-SA was set up in 2014 with the purpose, and I quote from our Articles of Association, to promote and support the global IGF as well as the national and regional IGF initiatives. And our scope article says that we should provide funds to maintain and strengthen the IGF secretariat and national regional IGF initiatives, to seek and promote exchange and collaboration with national and regional IGF initiatives, to identify new sources of funding and facilitate funding of the IGF, and make contributions to the IGF administered by the United Nations. Now, so far, we have been recognized by the UN as a contributor to the IGF Trust Fund, and we have contributed US dollars 260,000 to the Trust Fund so far. And we have made contributions to the NRIs of US dollars 235,000, and these contributions are expected to grow. If you look at the NRI map that has been developed by the IGF Secretariat, you can see that it's a really, truly impressive global network by now. And this is reflected in the IGF-SA support. In 2015, we supported 23 NRIs. In 2016, 28, and last year we supported 41, and this number is expected to grow. Now let me take a step back and explain why we think this is important. If we look back at WSIS's outcome in 2005, there was a chapter devoted to internet governance, and its main message was the internet governance, it's not just the business of governments. Governments can't do it alone. They need the input of all stakeholders. They need to work with the private sector. It is the private sector that makes the investments. They have to work with the technical community. It's a technical community that develops technology and standards. And they also have to work with civil society. Civil society plays an important role as a watchdog. This is what has been commonly known as the multi-stakeholder approach. The global debate we have in the IGF, it is important. It is important for the exchange of information, for the sharing of good practices, for learning from each other, for shaping global opinion and policies. But good internet governance begins at home, and here is where the NRIs play an important role. Many policy decisions with real impact on the internet are taken at the national or regional level. Governments are the ultimate decision makers, but the NRIs provide a platform to give input into the decision-making process. Multi-stakeholder participation is not an end in itself. It is a means towards an end. The ultimate objective of multi-stakeholder policy dialogue on issues pertaining to the internet, and that's from the definition of the IGF as was set out in the 2-week agenda. The ultimate objective of this is to have a better internet, an internet that is global, open, interoperable, stable, and secure. And the contribution the NRIs can make to this end is to have better and effective participative governance of a global resource, the internet. The NRIs play an important role in shaping decisions. They have a real impact. And with this, I wish you an excellent meeting. Thank you for your attention.
All right. That is the chairman of the Internet Forum Support Association. At this time, I want to introduce to you the idea of what this IoT is about. I know we're not in the classroom, or although it's a classroom setting. But anybody knows what is IoT? Feel free to say. See some folks shake their heads. Pardon? No, IoT is not information technology. Anybody else want to try? IoT. Yes. Anybody else want to try? Pardon? That's right, Internet of Things. Now, when we talk about Internet of Things, our first thought should be, what are Internet of Things? We know that we have the Internet. And when we talk about Internet of Things, we're talking about the things that are connected to the Internet. All right? And for you to understand the importance of your cell phone, or should I say a smart cell phone, your tablets, your computers, and today we have refrigerators, we have cars through the GPS, etc. A whole lot of different things are connected to the internet, and we're talking about how to have these, the present need for security in the Internet of Things. Our first presenter who would guide us and share thoughts on this particular subject is, let me just give you a little bio about him, is Mr. Wayne Hull. Now, Mr. Hull is the country manager of Flow St. Vincent since 2015. He's an accomplished finance executive with over 15 years experience. The last 12 years spent with Cable and Wireless, which is now called Flow, where he has served in the capacity of the finance manager and senior financial analyst for operations and control in the Southern Caribbean cluster. Now, prior to joining Cable and Wireless, Mr. Hull worked with KPMG, one of the world's largest professional services company, where he would have served with distinction. Now, he holds the designation of a chartered certified accountant with the ACCA, along with other accolades. Would you put your hands together as we welcome Mr. Wayne Hull, our first presenter, as we look at the present need for security in the Internet of Things. Mr. Hull, welcome.
You hearing me clearly? Not yet. Switches on. One. All right, so let me just say thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for having me here, and just say good afternoon to Roxanne John, who's the president, the other committee members of the ISOC of the St. Vincent chapter. I want to say a pleasant good afternoon to Corporal Shoy from the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force, and representative from Digicel, Mr. Dick. Hope I have your name right. Sure. All right. A pleasant good afternoon to all of the students. And I see the media is here, which is great. I must congratulate the local chapter of the Internet Society of, all of its achievements so far. I know hosting events like these, especially given that your voluntary non-profit organization, is never easy. And I think engaging the community college and the students here is really critical in your outreach obligations. And what I would say, your mandate as a society, ensuring that the internet stays open and transparent and defined by you, I guess the people, because the reason why the internet is so groundbreaking and has changed our lives is because the internet is defined by the people and not by policymakers and even the big technology companies. So the openness is really, really critical. on the subject here today, and I was at an event in Miami, I think about 2 weeks ago, and so I had the opportunity to look at a presentation done by an international keynote speaker by the name of Stephen Van Bellingham. I mean, his presentation was on the topic, customers the day after tomorrow. He shared a view really of how the world has evolved in digital technology and internet. But his presentation was more about the future, and that is what I want to share here today. Not just Internet of Things, but it's about the use of artificial intelligence along with Internet of Things. All right, and this, I believe, drives more reason why the internet needs to be secure. So we on the cusp of the third phase of digital evolution. Just to take you back, the first phase of the evolution was really when we had the internet being introduced to the world, and effectively the internet was used really to access information. And I think back then the internet basically made encyclopedias, no longer need encyclopedias, and that was basically the first phase. And those of us who are probably older than the students here would probably remember Netscape. That was the first internet browser. I think it was launched back in 1994. But Netscape was really taken over by Microsoft Explorer, because what Microsoft did, they made the Explorer available on every single Windows computer. And they were the dominant force, and still is today, actually. So that was really the first phase. The second phase was the advent of what we'll call the mobile technology, and a new method of communicating and interacting using the internet. So the things like the introduction of social media, as you know, as we call it now, the WhatsApp, the Facebook, the Instagram, and Snapchat, and things of that sort. And then you had the launch of the iPhone, which happened about 10 years ago, along with other Android smartphones. And what that allowed is for anyone to have access to application from anywhere. And I think that is what made a fundamental change in our lives today. And I believe the world has changed forever because of those invention, especially by Mr. Steve Jobs, who said that the iPhone would be everything you need in your pocket, which I think he has achieved. So the third phase in this digital evolution will be about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence will rapidly change the pace of digital adoption and the need for people to be connected. Effectively, AI is what we would term as the digital solar system, right? The AI would be like the sun, and you would have technologies such as the Internet of Things. You'll have things like cloud technology. You'll have things like the virtual world sort of technology that you have. And even mobile technology just sort of evolving or revolving around artificial intelligence. The importance of AI, and as I kind of use that as a short acronym, is seen because the most powerful technology companies in the world are investing heavily in AI and Internet of Things. Google right now has the most powerful AI machine or computer, and it's called DeepMind. And DeepMind it's sort of in the research phase, but it's actually being deployed to solve real life problems. One of the examples that we had of its use is that they are going to deploy that deep mine solution on the electricity grid in the United Kingdom in an attempt to save 10% in consumption. And that savings would come even without the electricity company in that nation investing an additional dollar to install solar panels and things of that sort. What DeepMind would do, it would allow the electricity grid to connect with the homes. It would allow for more data to be mined in terms of people habits in their homes. And it would be far better than humans in terms of understanding and helping people to consume or save electricity. And that would be based on its ability to gather a huge amount of data. And I think that in itself is a massive disruptor in the Internet of Things. Another big example of AI in combination with the Internet of Things is those driverless cars that we are seeing in the United States, and particularly in Silicon Valley out in California. You may have seen the drones that follow people around, right? I think when they just launched those, they had drones that follow people around. But the drones, if the person run into a wall or if they run into a tree, the drone will run into the tree. But now, today, because of AI and that deployment of that, the drones are now able to go around the obstacle rather than running into it. So that really is the future. Another device that I myself personally got to try out was the Amazon Echo, right? That device is deployed in almost about 10 million homes in the US now. And it's a device which they say is going to change the world, because Amazon is a really great company. And what that device would do is to look at the household items, make recommendations, replenish stuff in the home, even help people with shopping and things of that sort on Amazon itself. All right? Another big example and big user of AI is Facebook through the algorithms. So those of you who see on Facebook suggested friend requests, even the ads that you see on Facebook, they're sort of tailored to specific audiences based on the use of AI technology, and that is kind of some of the early phases of that. And Facebook is another big investor in that field. Another big example that I became aware of is even in Finland, they're manufacturing now elevators that can interact with the occupants. For instance, an example that was shared is that when the occupants come directly into the elevator would, using its sensors, get the body temperature of each of the occupants in that elevator. And then what it would do, it would check whether the outdoors temperature is within the same range, so that it can detect whether or not there is a safety issue within the elevator itself, or whether there's a fire. So those are some of the uses of artificial intelligence in combination with the Internet of Things. I just want to give you a few more examples. One of the big things that's happening now is smart cities. This is cities where, they're building them to interface with humans and persons living in the city, from the cars to the homes to even trees that are planted within the city itself. For instance, Google is building like homes now in Toronto, Canada. And Google is selling those homes a lot cheaper than any other real estate company. The reason being is that Google will continue to earn revenues from those homeowners through, one, its advertising, and through understanding the users of the homes, and to be able to sell their own technologies to those users. So it means that Google would continue to earn monies from those households forever. And this is why they're able to to sell the homes a lot cheaper. All right, and that in itself is another big development in the AI and the Internet of Things. If I bring it closer to home too, and I think this is where we can kind of look at these things. We are trying to build a new city in Annisville, and I think we as a country need to not miss this boat to sort of develop a city that is not compliant with the new or the future state of where technology is taking us. So I think the pause must that be, and I would suggest that the ISOC here in St. Vincent sort of interact or engage the government and developers to ensure that we're building a city that moving and is sort of future-proof across many generations. So for instance, a simple thing might be we should build that city without ensuring that every single transaction is done electronically. Yeah, it means that businesses or government offices, even our citizens, have to really adopt to the benefits of technology, and that is a simple one that can benefit us here in St. Vincent. Just to give you a few more examples of AI. AI is also relevant in the field of medicine, right? There is the famous actor Angelina Jolie, right? And you know, she acted in Tomb Raider and many other good movies. And because an AI machine did a medical diagnosis on her and said to her that you have an 87% chance of getting breast cancer, she used that right away and went through corrective surgery, right? So that in itself is another example of how artificial intelligence is also impacting lives directly. And that may have saved her life, you know, in the long run. So it is really clear that AI in conjunction with the Internet of Things and huge amount of data, you know, humans and businesses are becoming even more interfaced with the internet and with machine. You know, this is the future and it's here to stay. And I think AI would further disrupt our lifestyle and the paradigm of how we live our lives in the future. And it's even becomes more important for us to have protection of data and protection of access to the internet as a result of that, you know. Otherwise, we'll have bad things happening. We have very bad actors on the internet, and we have seen this already happening. For instance, we have seen hackers who hold people information at ransom, very large companies, very high network individuals, and even towns and cities. You have hackers who would go and take that information, their servers, their website, and do not release them until a ransom is paid. And I just want to give you a few examples of some very, very big companies that was victims of online attack. We have Adobe, right? And that is a big software company that gives you a PDF file. In 2013, hackers breached their IT infrastructure and took personal information of 2.9 million customers. They stole passwords, logins, credit card information, and even the expiry dates on the credit cards. We had the big company Sony, who makes the PlayStation, you know, system, and that was attacked as well somewhere in 2011. And the personal data of about 77 million of their customers was compromised. We have the store Target, and Target is the second largest retail chain in the United States. And between, say, 2013, between November, December 2013, hackers, you know, breached about 110 million customers' information, and they did not even become aware of it. That big company was not even aware of that. That had to be notified to them by another agency. One of the biggest breaches as well was with Yahoo in 2018. Yahoo suffered an attack on about 500 million users, right? Where accounts were stolen, birthdays, and that has been one of the largest cyber attack on a single entity. And I even want to share this with you, even closer at home. I myself receive emails where persons impersonate, my colleagues, they impersonate vendors, they impersonate customers, and asking you to either click a link, to either update something so that they can breach the integrity of all company data. All right. They even send like manufactured invoices, so that you can send payments. So they're very bad actors on the internet, and who would go to extreme lengths, to breach data. On social media presents a significant risk to businesses and IT professionals in managing security. And social media is very vulnerable because of the huge amount of personal data available across all of the platforms. And this allows, one, hackers to impersonate your friends, they can impersonate your customers, even your suppliers, and effectively breach your business. The good thing is that many large businesses have developed IT departments to support their technology infrastructure, and more importantly, administer their cybersecurity over their operations. Larger businesses like Flow, we have security experts that's what their job is, to secure the network, to secure the company, not just from external threats, but also from internal threats from our own employees. We are required to make sizable investment in our network to ensure that we remain secure, and it is becoming more of a requirement that you have to do updates more often. We used to do updates probably of a software annually. Now you have to do it quarterly, and sometimes you have to do it monthly, because what happens is that the hackers sit down and study the software and how to break it. So the manufacturers have to be upgrading and sending through patches on a regular basis. All right, in terms of cybersecurity, I just want to share with you some information. It's actually a $72 billion business annually, and it's growing about 13% a year. So cybersecurity is a very, very big business. The reason for it is that, the internet is so large and it's so much part of our lives now, is that, and it's part of the ecosystem of every single successful company, that, businesses have to hire experts to protect them against, the bad actors who operate on the internet. And every single device almost is connected to the internet. I was reading a book even from Stephen, and from that book as well, it can be, you can read the book from your phone effectively. I was planning to bring the book here, but I don't know why I got mixed up. But you can look at the book from your phone using some codes and using an application, and the book can read to you rather than you having to read that book as well. All right. For individuals though who are connected to the internet, you have a risk exposure to reputational damage and even financial loss. And it is vital today that you as an individual put measures in place to protect yourself online. One of the biggest unfortunate things as well is that the targeting of small children and minors. And this is why we recommend that even for households, just like our company would have an internet policy, households now need to adopt a policy of internet use for their children. So for example, you would have seen recently there are YouTube videos that are teaching children, giving them very simple instructions of how to commit suicide. Yeah? So that in itself is another, I think, one of the greatest harms I've ever seen with the internet. But it means that we ourselves as individuals have to put in place things to protect ourselves and our families. So ultimately, individuals, businesses, governments must take responsibility, adopt usage policies, and very importantly, invest in the latest software and infrastructure to ensure their own security online. There are many IT experts and professional software companies, even telecom operators such as ourselves, who make their services available to achieve foolproof security of internet services. As telecom operators, we are investing in our network to ensure that the users have a secured experience online. But we support the policy of an open internet, right? Because in our view, the internet would not be what it is, and we fully agree with that position, without having the open. But with the openness, it comes the difficulty of fighting the bad actors online. So it means that, the ultimate responsibility would lie with the users of the internet to put in place additional measures to protect themselves, their businesses, and their families, and safeguard your personal data online. All right, so I guess the message from me, ultimately, the responsibility is on you to keep yourself secured online. All right, so thank you very much, and do have yourself a wonderful afternoon.
All right, let's put our hands together again for Mr. Hull. Indeed intriguing. I don't know about you, but I think when he spoke about the smart cities and, of course, Arnoldsville being a smart city, that's a good indication, because it is you young people who will inherit that and would get an opportunity to help to develop it and make it even better. We're going to move quickly into our second presentation this afternoon. By now, you should have a good understanding of IoT, and you realize that you are a part of the whole Internet of Things through your devices, of course. Our second presentation comes via the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force. Today we have Mr. Sion Choi of the SVG PF, which is the Royal St. Vincent Grenadines Police Force. He's a corporal in the force with 10 years of experience in information technology and cyber security. He's attached to the Information Technology Unit of the CID, which is the Criminal Investigation Department. He's a certified computer and networking technician and has specialized training in computer and networking, intrusion, digital forensics, and cybercrime investigation. That is a mouthful. He has completed advanced training in cybersecurity regionally and internationally. Mr. Choi is a stalwart member of the Crime Prevention Unit of the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force. In 2016, he was a part of a select committee in the House of Parliament for the drafting of the Cyber Crimes Act of 2016. And all of this ties into, we're talking about security now. And many of you do things on the Internet of Things, which is, using your smartphones and digital devices. And you don't even know that you might have either been victim or you are a part to, what do you call it? One who does the crime, what do you call it? Pardon? perpetrator, all right, of a criminal act. Put your hands together and let us welcome Mr. Shoy as he takes us through our next presentation.
As protocol already been established, I wanna say good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, I take this opportunity to thank the local chapter of the Internet Society to inviting us to be part of this forum this afternoon. As our chairperson has already stated, and the topic, as you see, the pressing need for security in the Internet of Things. And I'm a law enforcement officer, so I'm going to deal with it from the policing standpoint. In the age of technology, law enforcement agencies are moving towards using the Internet of Things to increase national and personal safety. The IoT being a dynamic technology that has brought numerous transformations throughout several industries is now reshaping the field of law enforcement. Technology and sensor IoT devices are providing new crime-fighting tools and real-time situational awareness for law enforcement and the public. However, before we get into the pressing need for security, we must first define what is the Internet of Things. And the chairperson preempted earlier on. I was asking some students, and this is the definition of what I sum up in all of things to say what is Internet of Things. The IoT is the system of interrelated computing devices, mechanical and digital machines, objects, animals, or people that are provided with unique identifiers and the ability to transfer data over a network without requiring human-to-human or human-to-computer interaction. And how IoT works. IoT has evolved into the machine-to-machine communications, where machines connected to each other via a network without human interaction. And the IoT, it's function on 4 components. The RFID, which is radio frequency identification. And this, as you see here in the thing, is to identify and track the data of things. This is simply saying, in this technological age, you have anything, an animal, anywhere it goes, smartphones, smart tablet, you can track it with a FRID. It have the sensor to collect and process the data to detect the changes in the physical status of things. So it needs a sensor, as the RFID, and of course, the smart tech, or the component for how it works, to enhance the power of the network by devolving processing capabilities to different parts of the network. And of course, in nanotech, we all of us has small devices that can do anything and connect to various ways. It is simply to make smaller and smaller things have the ability to connect and interact. All right. The diagram maybe is not so well depicted, but the IoT is happening all around us. The IoT is a fascinating, and it has, as you realize, its various applications that you see. Have the appliances, CCTV cameras, smart vehicles, and all of these are connected to the internet. And right now, as we say earlier on, it's part of our livelihood. Without the internet in today's society, we're still in the dark age. So really and truly, IoT, and I'm so glad that we have this forum here today to discuss the Internet of Things. And I will ask this question. Is there a pressing need for security in IoT? The Internet of Things has been touted as many things. But what haven't you heard is that it could be your worst enemy. For although the Internet of Things offer great convenience by linking gadgets, an estimated 50 billion of them worldwide by 2020, it can also let the hackers take control of your house, your car, or even your body. Let us start with your home that you can see. These are what the IoT has at this time. You all have your smart devices, tablet, smartwatch. They have textile. My colleagues speak about the drones. All of that is in the Internet of Things. Let's start with your home. Hackers can hack the Internet of Things to intercept each document you print and divert it to remote site that your smart TV, or they can bug your house. Or perhaps you have the latest smart locks, the kind that let you use your smartphones at a distance to open the front door of your home. For a guest, the smart locks and security system in your home could be disabled by a wannabe burglar. Now consider your car. It has soon will have the ability to remotely start and turn on the heat when signaled by your cell phone, and the use of integrated GPS, maps, weather, and traffic data to select the latest route. However, hackers can remotely unlock the door, start the engine, and they can drive away. Sorry, just get some water there. Sorry about that. I have a cold fighting me for the week. Yeah, as I was saying, the hackers. All right, yeah. Right, the hackers might even gain control of your car while you drive, thanks to malware that infect the car when it communicates with a computer hack in a repair shop. With all of these risks associated with IoT, it is imperative that the police stay ahead and abreast of these new technologies and find ways to prevent and solve crime. So I'm going into IoT and policing, and I'm going to look at it from our standpoint. And the police must and use innovative technology. And we are in the phase that we're going towards that in solving crime. And we also have the help from our colleagues, Flo and Digicel, always assisting us on that path. It begs the question, can IoT technology assist transformation of policing in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Aided by connected vehicle technologies to ensure fast response to a crime scene? As the officer responds, he can monitor the event through real-time information monitoring, a program that encapsulates everything from body cam video of the officer and any other sensor-enabled connectivity to which the platform is connected. And we were fortunate that the government, in consulting with some companies, they were here and give us some samples and some tests in some body cam. So hopefully in the future we will have real-time technology as it relates to policing soon. And it also includes real-time information of license plates and spatial environment to know geographical. And of course the NTRC hoping to work with them as it relates to some technology to assist us in real time as it relates to getting the culprit, as it relates to vehicle owners and so on, as it relates to these things. And the information is captured in real time, alerting officers to things such as stolen cars driven through. It also will be linked to a database used for criminal investigation, linking general description from witnesses on the scene into cross-reference database with video and license plate technology to come up with the leads to crime. Because we all know every crime has some aspect of technology attached. And we have to be ahead. And we want to go that way in the future as it relates to Internet of Things. This information captures the analysts, lets the public know just what the police are up against in the war on crime and delinquency. It also ensures any incident, including those involving a police use of force, is documented, analyzed, and cataloged. In a larger context, it can illuminate the infrequency of police shootings or dispel rumors and provide the truth to the reality of those incidents. So in the Internet of Things, when this become a reality, these things will dispel rumors of police brutality and all these things. Because we will have the body cams, the live video, and so on will be documented. This is just one example of the power of connectivity and the Internet of Things hold for the future of policing. All the society expectation of public safety roles in safeguarding our citizenry are rather similar from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, because every country we have different things that we have threshold we have to meet in terms of communication. And one of the greatest needs for this change in the police is the lack of standardization. And this happens throughout the region. Everyone do things differently, but we have to come to one common ground when it comes to solving crime. One issue that contributes to the lack of uniformity globally is the disparity in various levels of funding for new technologies. Police departments that can afford new technology and equipment will make it happen. Those who can't, of course, they will be left behind. Nonetheless, there are numerous benefits of integrating the IoT into law enforcement. Despite significant advances in technology, data collection and interpretation has remained mostly a manual process in police organization, which the integration and everything, we hope that everything will become digitalized. And recently, I think we have a Carry Secure project coming in stream that we're going to go digitally as it relates to the database. We call filing police report, entertaining witnesses and statements. So hopefully we'll be going in that thing. I don't know how soon it will be coming in stream, but that part of the technological process that the force and throughout the region will be going through. The evolution of algorithms and data has tremendous benefit, most importantly, increasing the ability to identify suspects and problems faster while finding ways to work smarter and harder. With that being said, it will be reminders of me. Okay, sorry about that, Andrew. The integration of IT technologies and law enforcement will not only aid police organization ability to solve crime, but will also uncover issues before they rise to the academic proportion. This significant impacts to the effectiveness of the role of the police while boosting the public confidence in the work that the police does. And we're hoping that this IoT and everything of the integration into technology, the force will be a better force for the future. And it will be really for me not to speak about security, and one of the cybercrime investigators relates to the department. And I deal with cybercrime on a given day. And most of that, it relates to a lot of students dealing with cyberbullying and other interrelated crimes, which I know you all have, stay at your homes and remotely post things on the social media platform. As I said, the Cybercrime Act is there to deal with persons who decided to break the law. But I will not go that there, that's enough for today. I speak about the personal safety that I will want to advise you all to do because of this technological aid. If you're on a personal computer or mobile device, make sure that you have available firewall, of course, antivirus, software is activate and always up to date. You have your smart devices, Make sure that they update your computer, your smartphone, tablet, name it. And as you know, the firewall is always the gatekeeper. Without that, all the malware, ransomware, name it, Trojan will pass through. And of course, you must have an IDPS, which is the Intrusion Detection Preventative System, that monitors the computer system and the network to which is attached to detect, block, and report suspicious activities. Make sure you scan your system regularly to identify and remove any malware or possible intrusion. A computer infected with malware or breached by a hacker can be launching points for attack against the Internet of Things. So equip your home, make sure that you put on necessary security measures, and it say make sure you store password for Internet of Things that the hacker cannot choose, because if they use that and find any of these passwords or anything, they will access any stuff in your home. So if your device allows you to set your username and password, make sure you turn that capability on, and also create passwords that are not easy to get. So don't use your kid's name, your spouse's name, birthdays. It's not wise. Use unique spelling, use number combination, characters, symbols, such as question mark, asterisk. These things the hacker will take time to figure out. Use strong authentication methods. If you have two-way, biometrics or PIN, use them. Such as random generated passwords, secure biometric authentication, two-way. This can make much life difficult for the hacker who wish to think. And finally, watch out for phishing and social engineering. Now you know that happen. You're a student, person will want to figure out your conversation, peek on your phone to know what things you can get to get access to your Facebook account, Snapchat, name it. Hackers are very clever when it comes to sending emails and messaging that ask for username and password. So be very suspicious. When you get links on your email, make sure you check it before you open it. Facebook, likewise, or any social media platform. If you get a phone call asking for confidential info, don't give it. Make sure you hang up and then call the number back. The business or organization the caller had claimed to represent, because I have many reports came to the IT department that relates to these things. Person sent off the account number, personal data. When they call them, they get into a remote location, a remote they're not answering, a vague hoax stuff. So we always advise person, just don't give out when somebody just calls you. Because a bank would not just call you like that, and you can't get them when you return the call. So make sure you stay ahead of that. Don't use any phone number that the caller may provide. And in conclusion, this global rise of technology has brought on an information age, bringing other benefits such as security and safety. The IoT security is the technology area concerned with safeguarding connected devices and networks in the Internet of Things. The police has an important part to play in the security of the IoT by sensitizing the public of Internet safety, integrating IoT technologies to solve crime, and ensure public and security. By combining common sense methods with the state-of-the-art security technologies, we can prevent hackers from turning our device against us and build what is truly an Internet of security. Thank you.
All right. What an exciting presentation. I don't know, but some of you now are going to go home and probably start changing passwords. You're going to go home and start, doing some, what you call malware search and stuff like that, because you never could tell who might be lurking in the background trying to get your information so that they can hack you. And it is a very, very sick world we kind of living in. So this is why we have this forum speaking about the pressing need for security in the Internet of Things. Today, our final presentation will have to be done by a representation by for Ms. Fanta Williams, who's the country manager for Digicel. Unfortunately, she could not make it. So we have representing today a senior Digicel representative, Mr. Gershon Dick, and team. Put your hands together as we welcome him, and he will do the rest of introductions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon to everyone. And protocol has already been established. But again, on behalf of Digicel, I just wish to thank ISOC committee for inviting us to this session today. I think it's very important that we educate our society about the threats. As mentioned earlier in all of our discussion and all the speeches that was presented earlier, is how our society has now become dependent on the Internet of Things. So, as mentioned by the chairman, I was just asked in the last hours to represent my country manager, Fanta Williams, who had an emergency situation and needed to attend. So, she had a prepared speech that's about 6 pages long, and I haven't got a chance to review everything, so I'm going to try my best to summarize this, and just bear with me a little bit if I read what has been here more than present per se. But what is prepared here is looking at the Internet of Things from a security standpoint, and try to address some of the challenges with building security features as far as our gadgets are concerned. As most of you would know, as mentioned by Mr. Hall early in his presentation, in terms of the evolution. The evolution of Internet of Things actually started with the PC. Now we're into the ages where we have our wearables, our echoes, the smartphones, the smart appliances and stuff like that. But where we concentrated, or where the concentration with the PC was with security, it hasn't been so much the case when it comes to the newer devices, the wearables and stuff like that. Those things are mass produced, and there hasn't been really much concentration on the security aspect of those. So I'm just going to again try to paraphrase what is being presented here, and at the end, open for any questions if there's any. The Internet of Things has become a ubiquitous term to describe the tens of billions of devices that have sensing and authentication capabilities and are connected to each other via the Internet. The IoT includes everything from wearables, fitness bands, and smart home appliances to factory-controlled devices, medical devices, even automobiles. Security has not been a high priority for these devices, as mentioned earlier. There has been a lot of discussion regarding hacking devices and systems to obtain information and data. However, just as critical as cyber attacks against devices themselves, attacks which take over control of devices and cause them to operate in dangerous and insecure ways. Security challenge for Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is comprised of widely diverse range of device types, from small to large, from simple to complex, from consumer gadget to sophisticated system found in utility and industrial manufacturing systems. Internet of Things embedded devices are very different from standard PC or other consumer devices. These industrial operational assets are commonly fixed devices designed specifically to perform a function. Many of them use a specialized operating system such as MQX, Integrity, or stripped-down version of Linux. Installing new software on the system in the field either require a specialized upgrade process or it's simply not feasible. So what that is saying really is our new devices, the way they are designed, they're not designed with security in mind. And if you really want to install security features, it's not as easy as doing it on a PC. As mentioned earlier by Corporal Shoy, there's such things as firewalls and security of your password and all that stuff. The modern day, the third generation Internet of Things devices wasn't built with security in mind. It was more built with appeal and looks. So I encourage you to, when searching for a device and smart device, to do so with security in mind. Yep. What are some of the challenges in terms of securing our devices? They have about 7 listed here, and I'm going to try and take you through these. Critical functionality. In addition to devices, systems and appliances in a home, embedded devices are found controlling the world's transportation infrastructure, utility grids, communication system, and many other capabilities relied upon the modern society. Interpretation of these capabilities by a cyber attack could have catastrophic consequences. What does that mean? I was in the United States in little after 9/11, and a year after that, the entire New York power grid suffered a blackout. That was within 6 months after 9/11, right? As mentioned here, the entire power grid of that New York area is controlled by IoT. And the immediate concern was that it was another 9/11 attack. It turns out that it wasn't, but it shows the importance of securing your networks and any infrastructure that are reliant on such technology. 2, replication. Once designed and built, embedded devices, as the modern devices are called smartphones, smartwatch, wearables. Once designed and built, embedded devices are mass produced. There may be thousands to millions of identical devices. If a hacker is able to build a successful attack against one of these devices, the attack can be replicated across all devices. I don't think that needs any explanation. I think that in itself is self-explanatory. i.e., one attack on the latest Samsung S10 can be replicated across all S10s. So again, it's built with functionality in mind, not security. 3, security assumptions. Many embedded engineers have long assumed that embedded devices are not targets of hackers, i.e., it is the assumption that hackers are not interested in your smartphone. They are not interested in your wearables. They are not interested in your smart appliances. They are more interested in gathering whether social security data, credit card data, that type of stuff. As again mentioned earlier by Mr. Hall, the attack on Target and other such companies. It is often thought that those are the target of hackers and not your modern smart devices. But again, I implore you to take these into consideration as well. 4, not easily patched. Most embedded devices are not easily upgraded. Once they are deployed, they will run the same software that was installed at the factory. Any remote software update capable needs to be designed into the device to allow security update. The specialized operating system used to build embedded device may not have automated capabilities that allow easy updates of the device firmware to ensure security are frequently updated. In summary, again, once the modern smart devices, wearables, smart technologies are deployed, it is not very easy for them to be updated in terms from a security standpoint. In terms of upgraded softwares, security functions, and that type of stuff, because of the way they are designed, it is not very easily, and hence they are not very secure over a longer period. Because as you know, hackers evolved, and if our devices are not capable of evolving with our hackers, then we run the risk of having our information compromised. 5, long life cycle. The life cycle for embedded devices is typically much longer than for PCs or consumer devices. Devices may be in the field for 15 or even 20 years. Building a device today that will stand up to the ever-evolving security features of the next 2 decades is a tremendous challenge. And again, if our designers and our engineers don't stay ahead of the hackers in designing the modern technology, we are at a risk. As you can see, the life cycle of the embedded devices are longer, as stated here, than the PCs in terms of the evolution. So it is critical that when these devices are built, they are built taking into consideration the 15 to 20 year life cycles that they have, and so that they stay ahead of the hackers and those cyber threats that are out there. 6, proprietary industrial specific protocols. Embedded devices often use specialized protocols that are not recognized, protected by enterprise security tools. Enterprise firewalls and intrusion detected systems are designed to protect against enterprise-specific threats, not attack against industrial protocol. That is a mouthful. But in short is, whereas, Digicel has embedded security features to protect against both internal and external intrusions, embedded devices, the latest third generation devices, are not so equipped. Again, modern companies, large companies like ours, continue to invest in ensuring that there are protocols that are followed. And I mean, basically every 6 months you're asked, maybe every 3 months actually, you're asked to change your password, and you cannot use the same password within a 2-year period. So those are some of the modern things that are in place from a proprietary and industrial standpoint, just to ensure that we stay ahead of the game. 7, deployed outside of enterprise security perimeter. Many embedded devices are mobile or are deployed in the field. As a result, these devices may be directly connected to the internet with none of the protections found in corporate environment. Again, most of us are always on our smartphone, and we are mobile. There are no firewall, there are no security measures in place. As again mentioned by Corporal Shoy and Mr. Hull, firewall and other such security does not, in this case with your mobile devices, apply. And as you use your mobile devices, be mindful of how you surf your internet, what material you put out on the internet. Be mindful that your credit card or your bank information are out there. So as much as from a telecom standpoint, we would encourage you to use us, Digicel, as a mobile provider. We just want you to be mindful what you do when you're on the internet. In the United States, one of the biggest breaches in the United States is the theft of social security numbers. And it's very easily accessible because consumers are on their mobile device. They do everything on their mobile devices. And again, there are no such protection against hackers as you would find in PCs and large industrial companies. Right, so those are the 7. So just to kind of highlight again, critical functionality, replication, security assumption, not easily patched or their software updated. They have a very long life cycle, proprietary or industrial specific protocols, and they are always deployed outside of enterprise, i.e. they are very mobile. Security requirements for the Internet of Secure Things. A security solution for embedded devices must ensure the device firmware has not been tampered with. It must secure the data stored by the device, secure communication, and it must protect the device from cyber attacks. This can only be achieved by including security in the early stage of design. There is no one-size-fits-all security solution for embedded devices. Security requirement must take into consideration the cost of a security failure, economic, environmental, social, etc. The risk of attack available attack vectors, and the cost of implementing a security solution features that need to be considered, such as secure boot, secure codes, data security, authentication, secure communication, protection against cyber attacks, intrusion detection and security monitoring, embedded security management, and device tampering detections. So these are some of the security features that are now being considered in the Internet of Things, the 3rd generation Internet of Things. Again, I would go over them: security boot, security code updates, data security, authentication, secure communication, protection against cyber attacks, intrusion detection, and security monitoring. And in summary, many of today's embedded devices and systems are complex, connected devices charged with performing critical functions, including security in these devices is a critical design risk. Security features must be considered early in the design process to ensure the devices are protected from the advanced cyber threats they will be facing now, as well as attacks that will be created in the future. These are the steps to make your things secure and help create the Internet of Secure Things. Thank you very much.
All right. Now, if I were you, I would have a ton of questions on my mind, because I would want to know, number one, what can I do to protect myself? And number two, I would like to know how I can use this information to track or any interactions that you might have. I can share, as we just about to begin, that from our stream, one viewer sent a question, and this question comes to Mr. Hall. It reads, what is the prevalent view that algorithms used in AI in certain instances should be registered with some kind of trusted authority to ensure certain standards of commercial behavior? You want me to run that again? All right. What is the prevalent view that algorithms used in AI in certain instances should be registered with some kind of trusted authority to ensure certain standards of commercial behavior?
All right, so I think, as I said earlier, algorithms right now is being heavily used by Facebook and to some extent Amazon, those of you who shop online. So for instance, if you purchase a sneakers, whether it's a Nike or Reebok, Amazon would continue to send recommendations of, type of product, maybe just in a different color, right? So algorithms are really used to help the person make a decision. The idea is that it saves the consumer time, because time, as you know, is probably one of the scarcest resources we have. It probably is the scarcest resource we have. I keep telling people that, you have everything else, but you only have a finite amount of time. So I think it's about simplifying the lives of the consumer. In terms of registering it with an organization so that persons do not abuse it, I don't know. It will be tough for that, because I think that may limit creativity in a sense, because it's such a new technology. It needs a lot of funding for research and to make it even better. So I would not say it should be heavily controlled, but I think the consumers would make a decision in that instance. I would say leave it up to the consumers or the persons who use the various social app, who use the various website to do their shopping or whatever they do. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Shoy, Corporal Shoy, I should say, rather. I don't know if you want to probably take a look at it from the cybercrimes unit perspective. Let's say, for example, we're speaking algorithms and we're talking about your information that you would put out, let's say, on Facebook, all right? And someone that you did not give permission to takes that information and uses it for their personal benefit. Several cases comes to mind right away. Firstly, we can talk about, let's say, for example, I'm doing a research on bullying or something like that, and I take information from your page without your consent to enhance my research, or perhaps someone is taking information from your page to see how likely you are to vote for a particular party or not. And if you were following news over the past year or so, you would know that there is a company called Cambridge Analytica who was actually doing such a thing. And yes, I understand that they would have operated in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So, Corporal Shoy, what would be your take on such algorithms being used?
From a cybercrime and a cybercrime, my experience as it relates to these types of things, and it's happening not in organization, it happened throughout. Because when person try to get information or replicate something that is not there, there are obviously consequences as it relates to the Cybercrime Act. If you access any information that is not yours, there's a section in the Cybercrime Act that's dealt with that specifically. The section I can't recall out of hand. But as it relates to getting illegal access or data that is not provided to that organization, they can be charged, depends on the jurisdiction they are in, and because these crimes have transborder, and if where they are do have to be in St. Vincent because it's interrelated crime, internet crimes. So as long as the country where they are, we can extradite persons or penalty that the other country, as long as we have the same memorandum of understanding, we can work with that organization. Each country is different with the laws. But when it comes to cybercrime, it's kind of fake. We try to do it on par with the US. Everybody should be on the same path when it relates to cybercrime, because cybercrime, as you know, it has no boundaries. And these days, you could be in the US, in Africa, and commit the crime back in St. Vincent. So it's very challenging for us with our limited resources that we have. But as a cybercrime investigator, I'm in contact presently with the law enforcement via Facebook and other agencies to try to curb this type of crime as it relates. So as I tell person when they come and make cybercrime report, it's not a 1 to 3 fix like traditional crime. It's a lot of behind the scene work. You have to do a lot of investigating. As speak about algorithms, there's so many stuff you have to do behind it in terms of finding IP address where the telecommunication provider assists us at times. So it's a lot of wide area to traverse, but it's a challenge, but we up for it.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So from our audience, do we have any questions? I see one at the back. Yes, ma'am. While the mic is going to her, we all should remember WikiLeaks, right? Folk, we remember WikiLeaks. And what's buzzing right now is the name Julian Assange, right? He has been arrested for something similar to what we're talking about. He is talking, they're going to charge him for cyber espionage. That is, he's a professional hacker, by the way. All right, and this goes into what we're talking about. Yes, ma'am, your question, please.
You spoke a lot regarding the cybercrime laws. What has the police force been doing in regards to publication of privately shared information, such as the pornographic pictures of young teenage girls that were being posted all over the internet? Because that would then be breaking the cybercrime laws by distribution of child pornography. What has the police department done in regards to that? Seeing as you have the law, you say not to do it, yet there's a site that had it all publicized, and so many people were feeling the backlash from it. What was the government doing?
Okay, excellent question. I'm not sure what you're speaking to, but perhaps Corporal Shoy has an answer. Corporal Shoy?
Yes, as they have many sites that was
these pornographic materials were being out there, like Tumblr and others. But presently we write to these, because I think Tumblr, Yahoo is the one who's in charge of Tumblr. And presently they're doing some restrictions in terms of pornographic material that relates to Tumblr, for argument's sake. But there are a lot of investigations that I'm doing as it relates to child pornography and other violation of privacy as it relates to these things online. So it's not done. We have a lot of investigation doing. So hopefully you will get redress as it relates to that soon.
Thank you.
All right, excellent questions. Any more from this group of bright young men. Okay, so while you think about your questions, these are the 10 biggest security areas in the IoT. Just something for you to ponder on, all right? And you would have heard some of them when Mr. Dick, Mr. Hall, and even Corporal Shoy would have done their presentations. Number one, insecure web interface. We're talking about you do not have any firewalls, etc. You would have heard about it on your laptops or your tablets or your cell phones. This could be a problem. All right? Insufficient authentication or authorization. All right? It simply means that you do not have any passwords or anything like that for your devices, and that can create easy access to such information. And then we have insecure network services. We're not talking about service providers here. Right? Sometimes people think when you talk about insecure network services, you're talking about Flow or Digicel. No, we're not talking about that. A network service can be NTRC. A network service can be the community college right here. You are accessing the internet via their network, all right? And if they do not have the right, and you know that certain sites you can't go on, correct, when you're on the network here. And this goes back to the question that was asked before, all right? You are guided in a certain way through that secure network that would have been provided here at school. And of course, you have privacy concerns, insecure cloud interface. A lot of us use cloud storage. We have insecure cloud storage and you lose a lot of stuff. I remember there was, I can't remember the name of this cloud storage option that was given. And a lot of people stored photos and stuff like that, and it was hacked. All right, and all of your information, if you had any personal photos, whatever, it was just left out there. All right, so we have those things. But we have a question from a young man. I believe we'll take this question and then we'll head towards wrapping up because it's just about that time. Anybody else other than him? And we have one more at the back. We'll take those two and then we wrap up. Yes, sir.
What are your views on software privacy, and mostly how frequent is it?
All right. What are the views on software privacy, piracy, and views on that? Again, I'm kind of pointing the question to the persons, the panel, who I believe might be a little bit more the best to answer. And I think that falls again by Corporal Shoy, because that comes within the Cybercrime Act, software piracy.
Well, as you know, what is cybercrime is any illegal and illicit things that relate to the internet. So when it comes to software that is out there and it's not your, and you don't have copyright or ownership, you know what it is. So if you say, for argument, yes, a music or anything that you do and you put out. So if on the end you come to the IT department or any line and report that, we have to do it. Make sure that what you're saying is authentic, and we have to figure out exactly if the software belongs to you or who the copyright is. Then we'll work from that, because we have to show ownership, authentication. So there's a lot of things behind the scenes. So to know exactly whose product it is and so on. So anything that is not yours and is copyrighted, don't know, it's software privacy. So we will deal with that along the legal battle. With the help of the Attorney General Chamber and so on, they will be with that.
All right, thank you very much. And it's important for me to state, because most of us would use Microsoft Suite. And a lot of us have a lot of hacked, which means we have the software, we get it via the wrong means. I know that the world where we are right now, we're at a place where Microsoft, especially for schools and educational institutions, they usually give you either a free version or a reduced price. So like the St. Vincent Grenadines Community College, you can actually write to Microsoft and they can give software so that you can actually give each student, and they don't have to pay for that. So you don't have to actually try to get the software that is pirate. All right, it's not pirated. I can share with you my alma mater. I'm finishing up a doctoral program, and Andrews University, they usually give all the students every year. You get you just update your license. They just pay a little fee, and you get it from Microsoft, the whole suite, whether it's for PC or Mac or whatever. But we have a question up at the top.
So my question to you is, right, since you said the school network is, well, on a secured basis, right, what is stopping anyone from just coming into the school and accessing the network?
All right, excellent question. Now, I did not suggest that the school's network is secure. I said that there are certain sites that you cannot access, which shows a level of security, all right? I'm not one of the technicians here, but it's a very, very good question. Let's say, for example, and a lot of people would do this. You see them lining outside of SVG because you get free internet from that bank, all right? And a lot of people, and I've actually seen people doing this, either on their laptops or their smartphone. They're going to do a transaction, and they have to put in their card details and everything. Although the bank might have provided a secure network for their system, it is a public network, which means it is not private, and you should not do anything that you would expose yourself. Mr. Dick spoke about the United States and how a lot of people would lose their social security. And usually whenever you have these sort of intrusions, they happen when people go on public networks and try to do private things. So you are correct. All right, someone can actually come to community college and get access to the network, and they can do damage. And that is why we said that you must do personal, private, also security measures. You must have personal, private security measures in place so to protect yourself. All right, we're gonna take the last comment from one of our chapter members, and then we're gonna move swiftly into our wrapping up session. Straight across, the gentleman in the yellow t-shirt. So remember, if you go by the hospital and you get anywhere you get free Wi-Fi, sometimes you go into the flow and they have one of the best model walk-in smart stores. I like to call it that. All right, you get free Wi-Fi. Be careful what you do. All right, because it's not that the management of flow or staff will be there to do something bad, but you might have other people lurking on that network that can have access to your information. Yes, my brother.
Yes, it's not that you shouldn't, it's that you could, but just that where the guy from Digicel, who represented Digicel, said, you now have to take responsibility. If you're going to make a transaction from a public network that is free, you have to make sure that the information that you're sending out is encrypted. You have to make sure take care of your business, because it might be a deadline. They have to make the payment, and you're hustling, and you get there the free Wi-Fi. Just that you have to make sure that your security system that you're going to use and the trusted payment that you go through, say PayPal, you know it's going to be encrypted. So you could do that during the public network. It's just that you have to make sure that you are secure and your device that you are using is properly secure, so you can send out that personal information so it won't be hacked, because hackers are always, they lurking whether over your shoulder and the background and a piece of thing, but it could be done, just that you have to make sure you secure yourself while doing it.
All right. So and notice I said he's a chapter member, right? He has a lot of knowledge and experience in that particular area. Why I would advise against it, although it could be done, is the simple fact that at our first IGF, we shared that when you pull up a page for PayPal, it looks exactly the same. And you believe that you are entering your information into a secure network and it's encrypted. And you enter your information and you press send, and then you see a little buffer, and then it tells you that network busy or something like that. And guess what? They don't leave you at that page, they got your information. They then bounce you to the official site. And then you get your transaction done and you believe everything is okay. But guess what? They already have your information. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much. Let's put our hands together once again for our presenters. I believe what we have done here this afternoon was not just informative, but it is also life-changing. I want you to take the information, share it with your colleagues and your friends so that they can know exactly what would have transpired here today. And of course, the video, we're going to leave it up on our Facebook page so that you can go back and view it and share it, etc. This time, we're going to invite not Mr. Andre Games. You notice our Vice President, his name is there next to the vote of thanks and award recognition. But we're going to invite the chair of the IGF for the St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Internet Society SVG chapter, Mr. Willis Williams. Put your hands together as we invite him as he comes forward.
Good afternoon again. My job is to say thanks to everyone for coming here, but before I do that, let me do a little plug for ISOC. And I see a lot of young, enthusiastic people here who we want, who we need to have, in our organization, who's energetic and who I think will drive the whole aspect of bringing the internet to the world. And this task could be yours, and you could help us a lot. We're getting old. I am great, and a lot of people are bald. But we need young people. And to do that, you really just need to register. To register, go to our website. You register online, and if that is too hard, just to give your name to one of our reps, Miss John, just above there in a nice red shirt. She was here earlier. Any one of us, just give us your names and the particulars. We'll do the registration and get back to you, and join you into the fold of hard-working but well-meaning people. All right, I have to say thanks to a lot of people, because to get this, as simple as it seems, to get this this little gathering together, to find a place to have it, and to find everybody to bring it to fruition. We have a lot of people to say thanks to. First of all, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College. Have to tell them thanks for affording us the privilege to use their such a wonderful space. I actually have never come here before, and I'm very impressed with what is there, and for them to make this available to us. we have to say thank you very much to the college and Mr. Scott and all the folks who worked with us, Mr. De Freitas, Mrs. Goldberg, and many others. I have to say thanks to Mr. Rishon Richardson for his prayers today. And he was asked on short notice. And I believe people of the Lord are always prepared. And don't ever back down. And I say thanks to him. He's probably left us already. But he will know we mean well, and we always commend people for their service. SVG TV. SVG TV, they're here with us, or they left. Thank you very much. This is service that not very many people do. This is a charitable organization, and our message is noble. The message we're giving out is, is to benefit the whole of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the entire world. And no one better help us do that than SVG TV. We appreciate their presence here today. Cyber security, you have to unlock my device. I'm being secure. So I've taken care of the plug of ISOC. And let's go to the agenda sheet. And Miss Roxanne John, again, she's a very hard-working individual, and we appreciate her very much. And we say thanks again for her work here today, plus a lot of work in the background to get this exercise. Mr. Marcellus Constance, sitting quietly there, but tower of strength. A man who's done a lot of work. And his team of guys. It may seem as though I am not remembering the presenters, but we have presenters from Flo, Mr. Hull, and he brings his whole organization behind him. His words and his experience and his insight. He sees this. He sees this Internet of Things from a very large picture, and we have to think back and maybe help look at it from his eyes, because it's not going to stop. It's going to control us very soon, and security is very important, as he points out. We have Mr. Shoy from the police department in the IT section, and he brought a different perspective. He looked at the security in the IT, Internet of Things, and I know he's thrown a couple of hard questions. He probably didn't prepare himself for those questions today. Handled it well. And but we sometimes need to work a little more with these people of knowledge, to get a better understanding, and maybe to even chat our course and to the way forward a little more. But thank you very much, Mr. Shoy. Convey our appreciation to the entire police department and the Commissioner of Police. Mr. Dick, representative from Digicel. Who would believe that he only knew about this thing an hour before he turned up here at 1:30? He was quite eloquent. Seems to me as if he understood very well what he was speaking about. Although he told me he wouldn't been able to answer questions, I'm sure you would be able to. And your team, your quiet support, your two youngsters. I understand they're former college students. Yes. Welcome back to the college. We hope to welcome you to ISOC soon, once you register. Will you? They're not bothering me. All right. Our chairman, Mr. Kerrick, a man who is always ready to go and able, and has done a great job here today. I don't know what we would do without him. There are a number of other members of ISOC, and I could probably thank them in our own forum, but just broadly to say that this is a large group effort, and there was a committee comprised of a number of people who are all employed and busy, but who have devoted time, to make this exercise the success it is today. And I want to thank them very much. We have caterers, and we have some snacks for you, I think. So the caterer is Williams, and I am sure that although they weren't here for the blessing, the food is blessed and will be good for our bodies. Okay, Pastor, thank you very much.
All right, let's put our hands together again as we bring.
Just to reiterate and to reinforce it, this was sponsored by the IGF, an international body. I'm an associate of ISOC, of which St. Vincent is a chapter of the international ISOC. Okay.
Yes. And just for those of you who might want to Google it, it's the Internet Governance Forum. Is it sponsor? The S. Support, that's the word. Support Association. Yeah. And it's right here too, It's right here. When you get older instead of younger, that happens. So we definitely would like to thank them. And at this time, we are going to just call our meeting to a close. I believe, I'm not sure of the names of the classrooms, but as you exit and you turn left, the first classroom on your right, that's where we're going to be having our little refreshments. So at this time, we want to thank you very much for attending, and we hope to see you soon at the next ISOC event. God bless you and have a new day. Oh, just before